Hello everyone and welcome to today's episode. Today we are starting the first of a 5-unit sub-series for commonly misinterpreted Bible verses. Today what we are looking at is judge not. Does the Bible forbid judgment? Judge not. Does the Bible forbid judgment? The first answer to that is no. The Bible does not forbid judgment. But what the Bible forbids is hypocritical, self-righteous judgments. In fact, believers are called to judge and to discern and to judge rightly. So they are called to judge and they are actually called to judge rightly, not to judge in a hypocritical, self-righteous way. Many people reference that scripture of judge not, but they misinterpret the context under which Jesus made that statement. Now let's look at the Bible, the scripture in Matthew chapter 7 verse 1. It says, "Do not judge, or you too will be judged." So that verse, when many people when they interpret or when they make that verse, when they state it, if you look at the bottom line of what they are saying, the context they are passing is, when you see what is wrong, keep quiet. Do not correct anybody. But that is not what that scripture is about. The scripture itself was addressing hypocrisy in making judgments. Again, let's look at the same chapter, starting from verse 3, this time 3 to 5. It says, "Remove the plank from your own eye, then you will see clearly." So, based on this following scripture, the follow-up scripture, we see that the first thing to do is to examine yourself, self-examination. After you have examined yourself, then you can now go ahead in making judgments or making correction. The Bible commands righteous judgments. We see that in 1 John chapter 4 verse 1, test all spirits. We also see it in Hebrews chapter 5 verse 14, which says, train to distinguish good from evil. So you cannot test, you cannot discern, you cannot distinguish between good and bad, right spirit and wrong spirits, without making judgments. The issue is not judgments, but the issue is hypocrisy and wrong judgments. Again, we look at the scripture in Romans chapter 2 verse 1. It says, "You therefore have no excuse, you who pass judgment on someone else, for at whatever point you judge another, you are condemning yourself, because you who pass judgment do the same thing." So we have a warning from here, and the warning is, don't be hypocritical in making judgments. And when you are making judgments, don't be condemning in your judgments. We have in life many examples where you see where someone is trying to make a correction, but in that correction he's running the person down, the person he is correcting. And at the end of the day, instead of that person getting corrected or being corrected, that person leaves the presence of the one making the correction with a very low self-esteem. That is not how judging and correcting should be done. When you are making correction as a Christian, you correct with love. You are not called to avoid judgments. You are called to judge correctly. Like that sinking. You are called to judge correctly and not to avoid making judgments. Because like we saw earlier, without judgments, you can do certain things the scripture directly, expressly instructs us to do as Christians. Thank you and see you next time. Follow up for more biblical clarity. Thank you.